The marketplace was alive with noise, smoke, and the smell of strange food. Bright lights from broken lamps flickered above, throwing long shadows across the dirty ground. Traders shouted. Slaves coughed. Metal cages rattled as buyers walked past, pointing at the weak ones and bargaining with cruel smiles. In the center of this place stood a small stage. On it was a creature, thin, injured, and close to collapse. His skin was pale and covered in scars. Chains held his arms. His head hung low, eyes empty like broken glass. To the crowd, he looked like nothing more than trash. Just another failed body in a world where the strong survived and the weak were forgotten. The seller, a tall alien with rough gray skin, laughed loudly as he pulled the chains. Look at him. Worthless. Can't fight, can't work, can't even stand straight. Who wants him? I'll sell him cheap. The crowd laughed. Some shook their heads. Others spat on the ground. One alien shouted, "Not even worth a single coin." Another added, "Feed him to the dogs." The weak slave closed his eyes. Their words stabbed deeper than the chains. He thought to himself, maybe death would be better than this shame. But then, from the back of the crowd, a figure stepped forward. A human. He wore a long dark coat, dusty from travel. His boots were heavy, leaving marks in the dirt. His face was calm, almost too calm for such a cruel place. People turned their heads. Whispers spread. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Some respected them. Others feared them. The seller smirked when he saw the human. Maybe you'll buy this trash? I'll make it easy for you. The human's eyes moved slowly to the weak alien on the stage. He did not laugh. He did not mock. He only looked deeply carefully as if he saw something hidden beneath the dirt and scars. How much? The human asked in a steady voice. The seller threw up his hands. 2 bottles of liquor and a broken shopping cart. That's all he's worth. Less than worthless, the crowd roared with laughter. 2 bottles? You're still asking too much, shouted someone. No one is that stupid. But the human reached into his bag. He pulled out exactly 2 glass bottles filled with golden liquid. He also dragged forward an old cart with 1 broken wheel. Without another word, he handed them over. The crowd fell silent for a moment. Then laughter exploded again, louder than before. He actually did it. He bought garbage. Humans must be insane. Chains were released. The weak alien fell forward, landing hard on his knees. The human bent down, placed a hand under his arm, and lifted him up with surprising strength. The alien looked up with tired eyes. Why would you waste anything on me? His voice was cracked and dry. The human only said one thing. Because no one is worthless. The words were strange. Almost soft. The alien did not understand. No one had spoken to him like that before. His old masters called him trash dog, broken toy. But this human, this strange human, looked at him as if he was something more. The seller laughed again. Take him! But don't come back crying when he dies tomorrow. The human didn't answer. He simply wrapped a cloth around the alien's shoulders and guided him away from the stage. The crowd kept mocking, but the sound slowly faded as they walked through the market's dark alleys. For the alien, every step was pain. His body screamed, but inside there was something new. A small question glowing faintly like a hidden fire. Why would anyone care? Why him? The night air outside the market was cold. Stars shone above the metal rooftops. The human stopped near an abandoned corner and opened a small pack. Inside were food cubes and a flask of water. He placed them in the alien's hands. Eat, the human said. The alien stared at the food, confused. He expected chains, commands, maybe even a whip. Instead, he was given freedom to eat. Slowly, shaking, he took a bite. The taste was simple but warm. Tears filled his eyes. He had forgotten what kindness tasted like. The human watched quietly, not saying much. Only when the alien finished, he spoke again. Rest now. Tomorrow we walk far, the alien whispered, almost afraid. Why save me? I was sold for nothing. I am nothing. The human's gaze turned sharp like steel. No, you are not nothing. You've been broken, but broken things can be fixed. You've been hurt, but wounds can heal. And sometimes those who are thrown away become the strongest of all. The words stayed in the alien's mind long after his eyes closed. He did not know if this was truth or madness. He did not know if the human was a fool or a savior, but he knew one thing. For the first time in years, he felt a spark of hope, and in the shadows of the night, unseen by both of them, dark figures watched. Their whispers floated in the cold air. The human has taken the worthless one. Interesting. Very interesting. The story of the worthless had just begun. The night was long and heavy. The weak alien slept for the first time in weeks without chains cutting his skin. His body shook with dreams, dark memories of masters who beat him, markets where he was kicked like a broken tool, and the sound of cruel laughter calling him worthless. But when he opened his eyes, the scene was different. He was lying on a rough blanket inside a small shelter. A fire crackled in the corner, giving soft warmth. The human sat near it, sharpening a blade with slow, careful strokes. His face was serious yet calm, like someone used to long roads and dangerous nights. The alien pushed himself up, confused. Pain screamed through his chest, but he could sit. That alone felt strange. No master had ever given him rest long enough to recover. The human looked up. "You're awake, good." The alien frowned weakly. Why am I here? Why didn't you leave me in the market?" The human didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out a small bottle from his pack. Inside was thick blue liquid that glowed faintly. He poured a few drops on the alien's wounds. The alien gasped as warmth spread through his skin. The pain dulled. His scars felt lighter. What is this?" he asked in shock. "Medicine," the human said simply. "Expensive, but you need it more than I do." The alien's jaw dropped. Expensive? He remembered times when he was bleeding, begging his masters for a single drop of water, and they had laughed. Yet here was a human spending medicine on him. Someone sold for liquor and a broken cart. "Why?" the alien whispered. "Why waste it on me?" The human met his eyes. "Because no one is worthless." The same words again, strong, clear. The alien didn't know whether to believe them. He ate more food, drank water, and rested. The human spoke little, only asking simple things. Could he move his arm? Could he stand for a moment? Could he chew properly? It was as if the human was testing, repairing, measuring every part of him, not as property, but as someone who could live again. When night deepened, the alien could not stay silent. "You are different," he said quietly. "Most buyers would have beaten me by now, or sold me again, or—" He stopped, ashamed to finish the sentence. The human leaned closer, voice low. "I did not buy you to own you. I bought you to save you." The alien blinked. The words made no sense. "Save him? For what?" "From what?" He shook his head. "But I am broken. I am nothing." The human's hand tightened around the blade he was sharpening. His eyes flashed like steel catching fire. Broken does not mean worthless. Sometimes broken things are sharper than new ones. Sometimes the world underestimates what it should fear the most. The alien stared. He didn't fully understand, but something about those words sank deep inside, like seeds dropped into dry soil. Seeds that might grow later. For 2 days they traveled together. The human gave him food and water even when supplies were low. He wrapped his wounds every night. He taught him how to walk again with balance, holding his arm like a teacher guiding a child. The alien noticed strange things. The human always kept one eye on the sky, scanning the stars. At night, he placed small devices around their camp, machines that hummed softly as if guarding them. He checked maps, whispered names the alien didn't know, and sometimes looked far away, lost in thought. It was clear. This man had a mission. A secret, something dangerous. One evening, as the fire crackled low, the alien finally asked, "Why me? You could have bought food or tools or anything else. Why risk this on me?" The human answered after a long silence. "Because you remind me of someone I lost." The alien tilted his head, curious. "Who?" The human's face tightened, pain flickering in his eyes. "My brother." Long ago, others called him weak. But he proved them wrong. He fought, he rose, and in the end, he saved us all. You have the same look in your eyes, the look of someone the world gave up on. I will not let that happen again." The alien's chest ached, not from wounds, but from something deeper. A strange heat, was it? Pride, hope? He didn't know. But that night, when he lay under the stars, he thought of the human's words again and again. No one is worthless. And as he closed his eyes, he did not hear only the fire. He heard something else, faint, far, whispers in the wind, shadows moving beyond the light, watching, waiting. The alien did not know yet, but danger was near. Enemies had marked the human long before this night. and saving a worthless slave, had just made the hunt more urgent. The kindness of the human was not only strange, it was dangerous, and the alien's new hope would soon be tested. The days passed slowly, each one a test. The alien, once broken and weak, began to change. At first, he could barely walk. His legs shook like thin branches in the wind. Every step was pain, but the human was patient. He never shouted, never struck. Instead, he stood beside him, steady as stone. Again, the human said calmly, one step more. Hold your balance, the alien tried. He stumbled, he fell. Dirt filled his mouth. Shame burned his face, but the human's hand was there again, pulling him up. Falling doesn't matter. Standing again does. The words were simple, yet they carried weight heavier than chains. By the third day, the alien could walk short distances without falling. By the fifth, he could lift a small pack onto his shoulder. His thin arms trembled, but they held. Something inside him began to stir. Not just strength in muscle, but strength in spirit. For years he had believed the crowd's words that he was nothing, worthless. But now, with every step, with every bite of food, he felt those lies breaking. The human trained him in other ways, too. At night, he placed sticks on the ground and said, "Pick them up with your left hand. Now you're right. Faster. Both." The alien struggled, clumsy and slow, but the human never mocked. "Your hands must remember," the human said. "Someday you'll need them." Sometimes he gave the alien tasks that made no sense. Carrying water back and forth, balancing rocks on each hand, listening to the sound of footsteps in the dark. The alien didn't understand, but he obeyed. And slowly he noticed something strange. His body responded. Muscles hardened. Reflexes sharpened. His mind, once dull from pain, grew sharper too. Yet even as the alien grew stronger, he noticed something else. The human was always watching the stars. At night, when the alien pretended to sleep, he saw the human studying glowing maps on a small device. Names of planets flashed across the screen, marked paths, hidden routes. Sometimes the human whispered to himself, "Almost there. Just a little more." What was he searching for? The alien wanted to ask, but fear kept him silent. He owed his life to this man, but he also knew. Behind the human's calm eyes was a storm. One evening, as the fire crackled low, the human handed him a wooden stick. "Swing," he said. The alien blinked. "Swing?" "Yes, like this." The human raised another stick and moved it in a sharp, fast arc. The air whistled. "Again, faster," the alien tried. His arms felt heavy. The stick moved slow, sloppy. He felt foolish. The human corrected his grip, shifted his stance. Not with fear, with control. Imagine your enemy. Cut the air like it's real. So the alien tried again. Again. Hours passed. His body screamed, but he kept going. Not because he believed in himself, but because the human believed in him. At last, his swing made the same sharp whistle. The human nodded once. "Good. You learn." The alien's chest filled with something he had not felt in years. Pride. But in that same moment, he saw something flicker in the shadows. A shape. A figure watching from the trees. When he blinked, it was gone. He said nothing, but unease grew in his stomach. The next morning, they walked along a broken road. The alien carried his own pack now. His steps were steadier. He no longer looked like a slave, though his body still bore scars. The human glanced at him and said, "You're changing." The alien lowered his eyes. "Because you force me to." The human shook his head. "No, because you choose to. You could have given up, but you didn't. That choice is your strength." The alien did not answer, but inside his heart beat faster. Later, as the sun fell, they rested on a hill. The alien asked quietly, "Where are we going?" The human looked at the horizon. His voice was low, heavy. "To a place where chains are broken. But it won't be easy. Enemies will follow us. They already are." The alien froze. His eyes scanned the shadows. "Enemies?" The human's jaw tightened. "Yes, they know me, and soon they will know you." The alien swallowed hard. For the first time, he realized the truth. This journey was not only about survival. It was about something far greater, something dangerous. That night, sleep did not come easily. The alien lay awake, hearing whispers in the wind, footsteps too far to see. He remembered the figures he had glimpsed before. They were real. They were watching. But he also remembered the human's words. "You are not worthless. The alien clenched his fists, feeling the rough calluses forming on his palms. He was not the same broken creature from the market. Not anymore. Something inside him was awakening, and when the enemies came, and he knew they would, he would no longer be just a shadow hiding behind a human. He would fight. The first signs of strength had begun. The wind carried strange voices that night, low, broken whispers that seemed to ride on the cold air. The alien sat close to the fire, gripping the wooden stick the human had given him. His hands were steadier now. His breath no longer shook, but inside his heart raced. He felt it, the presence of eyes watching from the dark. The human, as always, seemed calm. He leaned back against a rock, his weapon resting on his knees, eyes half closed. But the alien noticed something. The human's fingers were never still. They tapped lightly against the metal grip of his weapon. He too felt it. Finally, the alien spoke. "They are here, aren't they?" The human opened one eye. His voice was quiet but sharp. "Yes, they've been following since the market." The alien's chest tightened. "Who?" The human's gaze turned to the shadows beyond the firelight. "Not traitors. Not slavers. Worse. The kind who kill not for money but for silence. They want to erase me. And now you," the alien froze. Silence pressed around them like a heavy wall. The human leaned forward, adding more wood to the fire. Sparks rose into the night. "Do not show fear. Fear is what they feed on. Watch. Listen. Every detail matters." So the alien listened. He closed his eyes and tried to push away the rush of panic. And then he heard it, soft steps on broken leaves. The faint crack of a twig. Breathing almost too quiet to notice. He gripped the stick tighter. The human gave a small nod. "Good, you hear them." Hours passed, but the enemies did not attack. They waited, patient, silent, like wolves circling prey. The alien whispered, "Why don't they strike?" The human's eyes narrowed. "Because they are studying, testing. They want to see if you are weak. They want me to waste my strength protecting you. They believe you are a burden." The alien looked down, shame burning again. A burden. Was that all he was? But then he remembered the human's words. "No one is worthless." The human leaned closer, voice steady as stone. "Listen carefully. If they come, you must not freeze. You must fight. Not for me. For yourself." The alien swallowed hard. I will try." The human's hand touched his shoulder. Firm. "No, you will do." The fire burned low. The forest around them was dark, silent except for the whispers of the hidden enemy. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A flash of movement. A shadow lunged from the trees. The alien barely saw it. Only glowing eyes, sharp teeth, and a blade raised high. The human moved first. His weapon fired once, light slicing through the night. The shadow fell with a scream, but more came. 4, 6, 10. Figures rushing from every side, blades glinting. The human stood tall, firing, striking, moving like a storm. Each shot was fast, precise, deadly. He was no ordinary traveler. He was a warrior trained for war. The alien's chest froze in terror as shadows closed around them. One rushed at him. Instinct screamed, "Run!" But then he remembered the human's command. You must not freeze, so instead of running, he raised his stick and swung. The wood cracked against the enemy's head. The figure staggered back, shocked. The alien swung again, this time harder, fueled by fear and something new, rage. For the first time, he was not the one being beaten. He was fighting back. Another enemy rushed him. The alien ducked clumsily, the blade slicing the air above. He struck low, hitting the leg, then shoved with all his weight. The enemy stumbled into the fire, flames licking at his cloak. Screams filled the night. The alien gasped, shaking but still standing. His hands hurt. His arms burned. But he was alive. The human fought like fire itself. Enemies fell one by one. But even he could not fight forever. Blood streaked his arm, a cut across his cheek. He breathed heavy, but his eyes never wavered. At last the remaining shadows pulled back, retreating into the trees. Their whispers faded into the night. The attack was over. For now. The alien dropped to his knees, shaking. His stick was cracked in half, but still in his hand. He looked at the human. I fought. The human's lips curved into the faintest smile. Yes, you did. The alien's chest filled with heat. He was not worthless. Not anymore. But as the fire burned low, the human's face turned hard again. This was only the beginning. They will return, stronger, more prepared. The alien's stomach twisted. Why? Why hunt you so badly? The human's eyes darkened. Because I know something they fear. And now you are part of it. The alien stared into the flames, fear and pride clashing in his chest. He had tasted strength, but danger was growing. The hidden enemy had shown itself, and this was only the first strike. The fire was almost dead, only glowing embers left. The night air was sharp and cold. The alien sat on the ground, clutching what was left of his wooden stick. His hands still shook from the battle. His body hurt, but it was not pain that troubled him most. It was fear. He had fought. He had survived. But the faces of the shadows haunted him. There would be more. The human had said so. Across from him, the human wrapped a strip of cloth around his arm where blood had stained the skin. His movements were calm, steady, as if pain was an old friend. The alien watched him, wondering, how can he sit so still after what happened? At last the alien whispered, "They will come again." "Yes," the human said without looking up. "Stronger?" "Yes." The alien lowered his head. His voice cracked. "Then, we will die." The human's hand stopped. His eyes lifted, sharp and steady. "Not if we fight. Not if we choose." The alien's chest tightened. Choose? What choice was there? Death or escape? His thoughts spun. He could leave. He could slip away in the night while the human slept. Alone, maybe he could hide. Maybe the shadows would not care about him. But then another thought came, heavy as stone. They will kill him. Alone, he cannot fight forever. Without me, he will die. The alien's heart pounded. Why should I care? He asked himself. This human had bought him for 2 bottles of liquor and a broken cart. He owed him nothing, and yet, that was not true. He remembered the taste of food when he was starving, the warmth of fire when he was freezing, the sting of medicine on his wounds, and most of all, the words, "No one is worthless." Those words had broken the chains around his spirit. If he ran now, what would that make him? Worthless again. The human seemed to read his thoughts. His voice was low, almost soft. "You're thinking of leaving." The alien flinched. He had no answer. The human tied the last knot on his bandage and leaned forward. His eyes burned like fire under the stars. "Listen to me. You are not here by accident. You are not saved by chance. You are here because you must decide, are you still a slave to fear or are you free?" The alien's throat closed. He wanted to shout, "I am afraid." He wanted to scream that he was weak, broken, nothing. But when he looked at the human, he saw something else. Trust. The human believed in him. Why? He didn't know. But it was real. Suddenly, the forest around them stirred again. Branches snapped. More whispers. The enemy was returning. The human rose to his feet, weapon ready. His stance was solid, but the alien saw the truth. The man was tired, bleeding, worn down. He could not hold forever. The alien's heart thundered. This was the moment. Run or stay. Live as nothing or die as something. The shadows came fast. Figures leapt from the trees, blades flashing. The human fired, striking 2 down, but more closed in, faster, hungrier. The alien stood, broken stick in hand. His body screamed at him to run. But his spirit, that small spark of fire, roared back louder. "No one is worthless." He shouted with a voice that surprised even himself and charged. His stick smashed into an enemy's face. The figure fell back, stunned. Another lunged at him. He ducked, rolled, and struck low, hitting the knee. The enemy fell with a cry. The human glanced at him, and for the first time there was no pity in his eyes, only respect. The battle raged. The alien fought clumsy but fierce, swinging with all his strength. Every strike burned his arms, every dodge tore at his lungs. But he did not stop. He could not. At one point, an enemy nearly reached the human's back. Without thinking, the alien threw himself forward, slamming his body into the attacker. Pain exploded in his ribs, but the enemy fell, and the human turned in time to finish the fight. At last, the shadows broke again, pulling back into the forest. Their whispers filled the night, angry, frustrated, promising they would return. The alien dropped to his knees, gasping. Blood ran from his lip and his arms felt like fire. But he was alive. More than alive, he had fought. He had chosen. The human walked to him, offering a hand. "You stayed." The alien looked up, breathing hard. I could not leave you." The human's voice was steady. "No, you could not leave yourself." The alien didn't understand at first. Then slowly he did. Running would have killed something inside him. Staying had saved it. The human pulled him to his feet. For the first time, the alien felt taller, stronger, not a slave, not worthless. As they stood in the quiet, the human said, "Remember this night. This was the moment you chose who you are." The alien nodded, his chest full of fire. The choice had been made. And though enemies would come again, he would face them. Not as property, not as trash, but as something more. For the first time, he felt it clear in his heart. He was becoming free. The night after the second battle was heavy with silence. The fire burned low, sending thin smoke into the dark sky. The alien sat close, staring at his hands. They were covered in cuts and bruises, skin torn from gripping the broken stick. But when he looked at them, he didn't see weakness anymore. He saw proof that he had fought, proof that he had chosen. The human sat nearby, cleaning his weapon. His wounds were bound, his eyes sharp, though weariness touched the lines of his face. Still, he watched the alien with a look that was not pity, not command, but respect. "You are learning," the human said. The alien shook his head. "I am still weak. I almost fell. I almost ran." The human's voice was firm. "But you didn't, that is the difference. Weakness is not failure. Giving up is." The alien felt the words strike deep like stones sinking into water. For days they traveled farther, deeper into wild lands. The alien carried his pack without stumbling. He walked beside the human, not behind him. His body grew stronger each step, though scars remained. But so did the shadows. Sometimes the alien caught glimpses of figures far away, eyes flashing in the dark, whispers carried on the wind. The enemies had not left. They were waiting. One evening, as they crossed a valley of broken stone, the ambush came. It was fast, brutal. Figures rose from the rocks, armed with steel and fire. There were too many this time, far more than before. 10, 15, 20. The human raised his weapon, firing into the crowd, but the enemy swarmed like a tide. Blades clashed against rocks, sparks flying. The human fought fiercely, but for every enemy that fell, 2 more closed in. The alien felt fear crash into him like a storm. His heart pounded, telling him to hide. But then, he remembered the words. No one is worthless. Something inside him snapped. He roared, a sound that shocked even himself, and leapt forward. His body moved faster than it ever had. He grabbed a fallen enemy's blade, the cold metal heavy in his hands, but not too heavy. His muscles, once weak, now answered his command. The first strike came at him. He blocked, sparks flying, then pushed back with a strength he didn't know he had. The enemy staggered. The alien swung again, this time cutting clean across. The figure fell. The alien gasped, trembling, but there was no time to think. Another enemy rushed. He turned, faster, sharper, his blade meeting theirs in a clash that shook his arms. But instead of falling, he pressed forward, driving them back. The human saw him and shouted over the chaos, "Good! Don't stop! Trust your strength." And the alien did. He fought with fire in his blood. Every strike carried not only power, but rage. Rage at the years of chains, the years of being mocked as worthless. Every enemy before him became a shadow of his past, and with each blow he shattered that past. Enemies fell. One by one they crumbled, shocked that the slave who was sold for liquor fought like a warrior born. The human fought beside him, the two moving as one. Back to back they cut through the tide. Sparks, screams, the clash of steel filled the valley. The alien's body hurt, but he did not slow. His arms, his legs, his spirit, all of it was alive, burning. At last the surviving shadows faltered. Fear flickered in their eyes. They had come expecting prey but found a storm. They retreated, pulling their wounded with them, fading back into the rocks. Silence fell again. Only the crackle of dying fires and the heavy breathing of the two fighters remained. The alien dropped his blade, gasping for air. His chest rose and fell, sweat running down his face. He looked at his hands again, stained with blood and dirt. They no longer looked weak. They looked strong. The human stepped beside him, resting a hand on his shoulder. His voice was low, proud. "Do you see now?" The alien looked at him, still shaking. "See what?" The human's eyes burned like fire. That you were never worthless. That inside you was strength no one saw. Not even you. The alien's throat tightened. For so long he had been nothing, trash, a broken tool sold for liquor. But tonight he had fought. He had stood beside a human warrior and lived. He was not worthless. Not anymore. For a long moment the two stood in silence, the stars watching above. Then the human spoke again. This is only the beginning. The enemy knows now. They will not stop. They fear what you are becoming. The alien clenched his fists, feeling the fire in his veins. He was afraid, but he was also ready. For the first time in his life, he wanted them to come because he was no longer a slave. No longer weak. No longer worthless. He was rising, and soon the galaxy would know it. The valley was quiet after the battle. The ground was littered with broken weapons, dark stains, and the echo of screams fading into the night. The alien stood among the ruins, his chest heaving, his blade still dripping. His body ached everywhere, but inside something else burned brighter than pain. For the first time in his life, he had fought, and he had won. The human stood beside him, breathing heavy but steady. His coat was torn, blood ran down his arm, yet his eyes held the same calm fire as always. He glanced at the alien and gave a short nod as if no more words were needed. Respect was enough. The alien looked at his own hands, scarred, bruised, bloody, but strong. Once these hands had been bound in chains. Once they had been beaten for dropping tools. Now they had broken enemies. He whispered to himself almost in disbelief, "I am not worthless." The human's voice was quiet but certain. "No, you are not. You never were." They buried the fire and left the valley behind. The path ahead was dark, but the alien did not fear the shadows now. He walked taller, every step firm, every breath filled with strength he had never known. Days passed. The wounds healed, leaving new scars, marks not of shame but of survival. The alien no longer stumbled under the weight of his pack. He carried it easily, sometimes even helping the human when his injuries slowed him. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in red and gold, the alien finally spoke the question that had been burning in his heart. "Why me? Out of all the slaves, all the broken ones, why did you choose me?" The human paused, looking at the horizon. For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then he said, "Because I saw fire in your eyes. Weak but alive. Everyone else saw ashes. I saw the spark." The alien lowered his head. "And now?" The human's lips curved in the faintest smile. "Now I see a flame." The alien's chest swelled with something he could not name. Not pride, not just hope. Something larger. Purpose. That night under the stars, the human finally revealed a piece of the truth. He unrolled a map, glowing with shifting lines and star systems. He pointed to a mark deep within hostile space. "There," he said, "a place where chains are forged. A place where they break the weak to rule the strong. I'm going to burn it down." The alien stared. "Alone?" "I was," the human said softly. Then he met the alien's eyes. But not anymore. The alien felt his breath catch. He understood now. This journey was not just escape. It was war. War against those who laughed at suffering. War against those who called others worthless, and he was part of it. The next morning, as they prepared to move, the alien stepped forward. His voice was steady, clear. "I will not run. I will not hide. Wherever you go, I will go. Whatever enemy comes, I will fight. You are my brother now." The human looked at him long and hard. Then he reached out and clasped the alien's arm, strong, solid. "Then we fight together." From that day, the alien was no longer just a rescued slave. He was a warrior, a partner, a brother in arms. The whispers in the shadows grew louder in the days that followed. The enemy spread word of the worthless slave who fought like a storm beside a human. Some laughed at the tale. Others feared it. But all knew the truth was spreading, and the alien, once sold for liquor in a broken cart, now carried a weapon with steady hands. Each step forward was no longer in chains, but in freedom. He remembered the laughter of the marketplace, the jeers, the cruel words. And he swore to himself, "They will regret ever calling me worthless." As the human and the alien disappeared into the starlit horizon, preparing for battles yet to come, a final thought burned in the alien's mind. They thought I was trash. They thought I was nothing. But they do not know what I am becoming. They do not know what has been unleashed. The galaxy would learn, and it would never forget.